Okay.
We're called to order. What do we got to do here?
Okay. Well, first order of business is to approve the minutes for our last meeting. That was January 29th.
Yep.
I move that we approve the minutes.
I second it.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Well, okay, seeing none. Let's see. Yeah, I have to go down the. Okay, I'll go down the order from my screen. Nancy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm yes. Okay. Ryan.
Yep.
Walter.
Yep.
Bill.
Yes.
Jay.
Me?
Yes, we're voting on the minutes.
I'd already voted, but I'll vote again if you want.
Okay. Yes, please. I mean, I think I heard you before, but that was a yes.
And a yes again.
Okay then. All right. That's and I have voted yes, so that's all yeses. Minutes are approved. Okay, so so reports on communication with our state representative and state senator.
I was tasked with getting a hold of our state representative. I called the office and that didn't yield much of anything. So I sent her quite a long email explaining what the issue was and how important it was that our citizens not be left in a hole. And I got a quick answer back saying I'm aware of that. So
Yeah.
that's best I could do.
Okay, and I'm trying to remember who had.
I was supposed to do Mike Barrett, but I'm sorry, I did not. And I will do it.
Okay, yeah, I guess our question is, I mean, I guess our question is what, well, well, that gets us a couple of items down the list. What further we can do, but we do have that on the agenda later, so let's hold that. I don't know if there's anything more to be said about that. We can, I guess we can go on to the warrant article, which I think is actually a critical. That's critically timely. We need this in. We need to submit this by next week. I think it was the February 24th, I think was the deadline.
I think so.
Yes, I think that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, so we don't have a lot of time to finish this. I did write up a draft. Okay, so here's the scoop. You know, I did put warrant articles with an S in parenthesis here because we did talk about multiple articles last time, and since then I was back and forth with Carmen, and at first she thought we needed 2 articles. At first she thought we would need to move to actually, in the best case, move both articles, because one of them would be retroactively saying that, yes, we really wanted the select board to submit this because of the changeover in legislative session. And but then she had some communication with our legislators, and they convinced her that no, we only actually do need 1 article, because in fact they've already submitted the home rule petition is in the pipeline. We don't have to ask for it. That part is already done, and they're willing to move ahead on the basis of what we asked for last year. So so we have one article, which would be
David, are you with us?
Oh, I think David's frozen.
Yep.
To breathe hot, warm air on his
Froze.
fingers.
There we go.
There he is.
running stuck again.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think all right. So there's the technical glitch of the computer. I think the wireless actually works better than the wired connection. Oh, well.
So David,
Um,
you're saying
yeah.
we're thinking of only
Yeah, how far do
submitting
we back up?
one warrant article?
Right, so did we get the part where I said why we didn't need the article to resubmit?
Yeah, the things that Carmen told you,
Yes, right.
we got.
Okay. So we have right, and then you noticed I was freezing up. Okay, so I did draft up the article which we do need in our best case scenario here, which is that they actually enact the home rule legislature before town meeting, and that I hope everyone got that. We had a little miscommunication, and I just got it out last night to everyone in the email. So so has everyone actually received it?
Yes.
Okay, so just to review how this is constructed, there's kind of a short paragraph preamble that to basically make this an article, and then there's the text of basically the verbatim text off of the state website of what's in front of the legislature right now, which is, I mean, eventually, I mean, when we actually move this, that's going to have to be, if they make any amendments of any kind to what we gave them, then we'll have to change this. I mean, because we'll have to present exactly what they passed. But this is what's on the website right now. It's the closest we've got. And then at the end, after section 7, there's a narrative. And the narrative's kind of long, but I think it's comparable to what we had last time. Well, comparable to what we've had the last couple of times. It says something about what we've been doing with it, and then it has what we have to do.
The only change that would be there is when we say after it's passed by the Great and General Court. Well, if it has not been passed by the Great and General Court, first off, one, it's not passed by the Great and General Court at all. They haven't gotten around to it. And so that we are in the position of resubmitting. Well, no, we just have to wait. I guess that's what it comes down to, because it's already been resubmitted.
Yeah.
I understand from Linda. So it's been resubmitted anyway. So that if it's not there, there's absolutely nothing so for us to do with this except potentially ratify the fact that that we want it submitted. But if the other possibility is it's be approved by the Great and General Court, but not in the form that we submitted it, in which case we take this just as you've got it here, and we do an amendment on the floor or something like that, which says changes, strike out whatever words or changes have to be there.
If necessary. I expect that Carmen would let us replace the text here with the actual text of the actual act.
Right. So we can.
And we see that in town meeting all the time.
Yeah.
Where somebody will say the text you picked up on the table is different than the text you got in the warrant or something of that sort.
We would need to point out the differences, I think. But
that's a common occurrence.
About that, but
Yeah.
So that's not a big deal. The only part that I'm slightly confused by is, suppose that no action has been taken by the Great and General Court, home rule petitions or this home rule petition, no action is taken at all. And that now, if action is taken, we, of course, we simply ratify it and go on to a townwide vote on it. But if no action has been taken, by the Great and General Court, then this isn't there and we have to wait for another year or whatever it is. And we have our make do process in the meantime.
Do we have a sense, David, from what Carmen said to you in redoing this, that she has a sense that the Great and General Court is in fact going to act on this thing? Is that, or is that reading too much into the tea leaves?
I would, yeah, I get no, we had no communication about that one way or the other.
The town meeting for which this warrant article would be discussed is in June.
Yes,
So it seems like it would be probably would pass by that time.
But there is a chance that it won't. And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Up to Ryan's point, do we need to have anything for town meeting if it doesn't pass? Do we have to have anything written up explaining what we're going to be doing or not?
yeah, I mean, I think the, I don't know what we could do at town meeting, frankly, if they,
I almost would be opposed to that. If it doesn't pass, it doesn't pass. And because what I'm terrified of is, thanks to the generosity of someone whom we all know, we'll bridge. But I can see town meetings say, well, why the heck do we have to have this thing if in fact it can be handled privately? And that, I mean, that would scare the daylights out of me. So I would like to go quiet if.
So we don't have to say anything. I thought, that's what I thought we discussed last time, but I couldn't remember exactly. So we wouldn't have to put anything in front of town meeting if it doesn't pass.
I don't think so. Linda, you
Linda, you have some doubts.
Yeah. So a couple things. It just so happens that Stephen Crane and myself are meeting with Senator Barrett and Tammy immediately following this meeting.
Oh, good.
Oh, cool.
So we had a pre-scheduled meeting to yet again speak with them. So a couple things in terms of what you've already discussed. The chairs all received a memo a couple weeks ago saying that no later than the 17th of, oh, sorry, that's later in the month. The town manager's office needs to know, as soon as possible about who's going to be presenting next Saturday at the preview coordination meeting. And if you have slides for that presentation, they need to have those as well. So that's key that happens right away. And then when you were talking about the the wording, both the necessity for a additional warrant article, we may know more after this morning, but my guess is that the advice that Carmen originally gave you about having ready another warrant article is in case through this calendar year, the existing filing doesn't pass, similar to what happened last year, and you'd already have the town meeting affirm a new one ready to be filed January 1. But so I'm guessing that's where Carmen was coming from with her suggestion. But, we're going to explore all of this yet again with the actual, with Tammy and Mike versus their office staff, because there have been some conflicting responses that have come down.
From whom?
Yeah, so the good news is that there is a filing on record right now. And and I think both offices understand the timing issue that we're all concerned about.
Mhm.
And, similar to the response Walter got, they're aware of the issue and the timing. And we're just going to revisit all of this yet again this morning.
Oh, okay.
So.
And the language that we have now is identical to the language that was already passed by the town meeting. All right, so we're still working under the previous authorization. So everything's okay. In fact, nothing needs to be done unless the state acts, in which case the town goes forward to reauthorize and go to a townwide vote. But absent an action by the state, there's nothing we need to do till next year. Does silence give consent?
Yeah, I was just weighing my words here. Assuming that we are likely to have a special town meeting in the fall, but you know, there's no guarantee, but assuming that that happens, there would still be time to make sure we had in the queue new legislation ready to file January 1, if that in fact is going to be necessary. Yeah, so I hope I'm not confusing the situation, but that's where we are in terms of our
No,
understanding this process right now. The other thing that came to mind as I was listening to you talking is that, and I'm sorry I didn't go back and look at this earlier this morning, in terms of what the warrant actually said last year. You know, usually we have language in there that says or substantially as worded, which allows us to deal with whatever changes come back from the legislature with the home rule petition, as long as it's within the scope. So hopefully that language was in there. I'll go back and look at that before we meet with Mike and Tammy.
Yeah. Wait, you mean the language in last year's
Correct.
motion?
Yeah, which still would affect the filing that's happening right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But last year was, we already presented at the town meeting, the you know, making it permanent and using, you know, gross income and these other changes.
Yeah.
That was already blessed by town meeting, so.
Yeah.
So, am I wrong to think that, let's assume for a minute it doesn't pass, it won't pass this year. Essentially, we have a kind of a housekeeping issue rather than anything. And we've already had this passed before by town meeting. So now we're just asking the town to resubmit the article, the home rule petition to the general court, correct?
Yeah, but we don't have to ask for the permission to resubmit. We already got authorization to submit it, which presumably means we have authorization to submit the same thing again, which in point of fact has already been done.
That's the question I had is it, does it end or is that still allowed?
There's a timing issue on some of these resubmissions, and that's what we've gotten conflicting responses from the two different offices and their staff from the two different offices. So that's in fact one of the key points we'll be clarifying again this morning.
So if I can get this, actually, if I'm understanding this, the question is not about this year's article. It's the question is, well, if we don't make it through the process by December, this thing will have to be resubmitted. Okay, can they submit it yet one more time in January 2022
without us going back to town meeting?
Yeah, right. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But my understanding, Linda, am I correct that it was already refiled for this?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's a bill, and yeah, with the bill number.
Yeah.
So I don't think that, you know, town meeting authorizations expire. They, you know, unless there's something in history or law that says, you know, if something doesn't get acted on, it goes away. I think that we have an authorization, and under that authorization, it was originally filed. Under that authorization, it's refiled as many times as it takes to get it done.
Good point.
And already it's been refiled. So, because as I understand it, the legislature starts again with a quote clean slate every year, right?
No, every other year.
Is it every other year? So, okay, so it had to be refiled this year, right?
Yep.
So, but in any case, as far as we know, we're okay now, and absent action by the state, nothing needs to be done by town meeting. Given action at this town meeting, given action by the state, then we do need to go to town meeting to get it blessed so that we can go to a town-wide vote.
Right,
Yep.
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, the more we think about this, I'm inclined to put the second article in just as a safeguard.
You know, I think of the explanation that I just so struggled with.
Yeah, I mean, I know, I'm not disbelieving it. I just, I believe it, but just in case we're wrong, because it's very easy to not move an article,
Yeah.
but it's very hard to move an article that you haven't submitted.
But the explanation that I just gave, I think, would totally confuse town meeting. Even
Reiner,
carefully written out.
would you say that again? Because for the minutes, what your explanation was?
It's a QED. So if the state has, okay, if the state takes action on the home rule petition before town meeting, then town meeting must approve it again and as submitted or as blessed by the state, and then go to a townwide vote.
Yeah.
All right. If the state has not taken action before the meeting, then there is no action required by the meeting, because under the previous votes of town meeting, the petition has been filed again, and we are waiting on the state. If the state acts sometime before a second town meeting, if there is a second town meeting, then the act as blessed by the state would then get approved by the town meeting and a townwide vote in the fall. Right. If there is no action at all at the state level, then the home rule petition is again waits upon the state until a year from now, at which point we hope that it finally will have been approved or not, and we will go through the process again. If there is no action by the state, and given that in that instance there is no necessary action by the town meeting, then this committee is aware of a stopgap plan to protect the citizens who have applied and to be sure that they are not penalized by state inaction. Period.
Period. Okay.
I couldn't say it a third time. And I think from informal discussions, it's known how the matter will be taken care of now between the assessor's office and the Hugh Cargill Fund.
Linda, could you send us a missive with a little summary of how your meeting goes this morning?
I certainly will.
And if you, Linda, after your discussion later this morning, I don't know if you can communicate the result of that discussion to all of us without filing another formal meeting or something or other under the open meeting law.
Or at least communicate to our secretary, Nancy.
Yeah.
And she can communicate with the rest of us as she normally does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, good idea.
Since
Happy to do that.
is required.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone in there?
Yeah, I guess we're all cogitating, I think. The
It's a difficult situation because normally committees like this are linear and we have a task, we have tasks to get ready to do the task, and then we do the little tasks, and then we do the final task, but we're not in a linear place here. We have one action we know we're going to take, and then we have to sort of dodge and weave depending on what happens, which makes it hard to articulate next steps.
yes. Yeah, I think though, I think on further consideration, we will, despite what Carmen said earlier, I think we'll prepare. I will prepare. Well, basically, I guess the second article would just be last year's article.
Right.
I mean, we could be prepared to meet literally next Friday if we had to, depending upon what transpires in the next few hours.
Yeah, although I'm supposed to get stuff into, we're supposed to get our articles submitted, I think, the 24th, which is Wednesday.
Let me ask this question.
But yeah,
Would this be a good question for town council, Linda, for us to simply ask if the previous previous town meeting permission to pursue this legislation remains in effect until it's done, from one session of the legislature till another? Because if that's the case, then there's no need for any other warrant article. That's what Ryan's been saying.
yeah.
I think we're going to have clarity later this morning.
Yeah.
And
That would resolve it.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay, well, I think, I think if we, and I was going to actually send the article as written here into the town offices.
So for the preview meeting, it's not necessary to have the exact wording. I think the main thing is that they know there is intent. And so you already have the slide from last year, right?
Yeah.
So you've got that minimally to work with, and that's sufficient to put everyone on notice that, as a placeholder.
Yeah, I mean, so this is not like the formal, we're going to have hearings, presumably. And this is not one of them yet. It's just it's a preview, as you said.
Right.
So who has the slides?
I guess I've got them. So tell me what to do with them, or where to send them.
Well, the slide is the one that has the text. That's the one that they need.
So David, you're going to go to the meeting, right, on the 27th?
I was assuming so. I mean, it's
Good, that'd be great.
Yeah, although if Ryan, if you want to go also and do a presentation, that would be fine too. We can do it either way.
I don't think it's a go-to. I think it's a Zoom, probably.
Right.
Well, yes, I go to, and
I mean, we can all be audience there.
Yeah.
So Chris Carmody needs to know, has to have the slide in the town manager's office, needs to have that slide in possession and know who's going to present.
So Ryan, if you could forward the slide to Chris Carmody, and David, you'd be the presenter.
We can do it that way.
That's fine. And I'm absolutely willing to do that. My question is whether we need to take the time and people's time to present when in fact there may be nothing to present. Simply say we're waiting on the state for that, and things are going forward. And
yeah, I think you're right, but they're going to want to see something. So if we just have the slide with the text.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a one slide, right? So
then I have to make a new slide because we're not we're not going to present the substance. We're simply going to present the status.
Correct.
Okay, so Nancy, will you send me an email to remind me? Because I think to remember for 3 hours is beyond my capability.
All right,
And just
will do.
tell me what I gotta do on one slide and where do I send it? And so
Okay, let's see, where to send it.
committee
First,
needs to-
Harmony.
Yeah.
All right.
David, do you want to submit
Yeah.
it to the committee? to
Sure.
make the
Okay,
slide?
yeah, why don't you forward it to me and I'll
Oh.
submit it, then that'll work.
Okay.
The one thing I would suggest though, why don't we, if you could just add the status slide to the existing slide. I mean, I'm gonna try not to take the meeting's time with the whole text of the thing, because you say we've been through this. I mean, I can put it up and say, look, this is what we voted last year, and now here's the status, next slide. But if people drag me back to that slide, if somebody's got some questions about it, then we'll deal with it. But
Well, I think, again, everything hangs on Linda's report from the meeting in an hour.
well, largely, but I think no matter what the outcome of that, our presentation to the to this preview meeting is essentially the same. And so we've got this thing in some stage of the pipeline, and we're pushing it. And if things go well, we will be presenting an article.
Or be on this consent calendar.
Whatever we find out, I'm sure Carmen will help us work this in the correct way.
Yeah, Carmen is terrific. I'm
Yeah.
a big Carmen backer.
So what else is there?
Well, I think there's not. Yeah, so I don't know if oh, actually, that's a good point. We're not. So we actually, I guess we don't need to. I guess we don't even need to pick apart this thing word for word in today's meeting, because this is not. This is the preview, not the actual submission of the warrant article. That correct?
Yeah.
So we're going to have another. I don't recall when warrant articles are actually due.
Well, fairly soon.
I would think so.
Yeah, there's a
Or
date.
March sometime.
Uh,
Are they doing March?
March 19th, which is a Friday,
Yeah.
by 12 p.m.
So I think we should. So I think we should. Well, I'm getting a little bit ahead of things, but I think we should make sure that we meet before then, another time.
Week from today?
Week from today, I think, is maybe a little too soon, because we won't even have the preview meeting yet. We might as well wait till we've gone through the preview.
Well, we've run out of February. That's
Yeah, right. That's a good point. This is well, no, that'll be right. That'll be the last Friday in February. So if we
So
go
it'll be
after that,
March 5th would be the next date then.
yeah.
That works, doesn't it? March 5th, because it's ahead of the due date.
something.
Yeah, it's quite a bit ahead of it, actually. Well,
Do we meet?
let's not cut it too close. So 2 weeks ahead of the due date is good.
March 5.
But when is this presentation required that we're making a slide for?
So the presentation is the Saturday before that.
The Saturday?
Saturday, the
27th. Yeah.
the 27th.
Okay, so the question is, do we need to meet before that presentation?
No.
I don't think so.
Because basically, they'll pop the slide up and say, this is the sum and substance of what we're going to do. And they'll say, great. My recollection from my days on the FinCom was nobody wanted to talk a lot. They just wanted to hear and move because there's so much to do. So it's a very quick bang, 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 bang thing. It will not be a lot of in-depth discussion.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I'm hoping for, less than 60 seconds, maybe less than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It says nothing to do. It doesn't say no action.
Okay.
Well, when are we gonna meet?
March 5th?
March 5.
That's the deal.
So do we need anything? Okay, so the other the only things left on our agenda for today were, well, I think we've actually been discussing them. Further action on the home rule petition and the alternatives if it's not enacted. And I think really, I'm not sure that we have. Do we have anything more on that at this meeting, or we just want to wait till we get the feedback from later this morning? And
We wait.
Yeah, because the feedback we get is going to direct what we do. So there's no point in us sort of thrashing around and then saying, oops, we don't have to do that every. So Linda, we can't wait to hear your what happens.
Let's hope everyone shows up after this big buildup.
okay, yeah, actually, I guess, yeah, right, and you'll send some, and we'll get some.
I'll definitely communicate with you. Yeah.
You're going to communicate with me, right? And
Yeah,
I'm
minimally.
communicate
Yeah,
with
sure.
the-
Yeah.
I was gonna-
Yeah.
Committee.
Okay. Well, then I think the only thing we have to do is to wait for the feedback from later this morning, and I need the slides, and I'll put this article in, and we'll be ready to go.
Sounds good.
Are we ready to adjourn on that note?
Yes.
I think so. We've run through our agenda.
Well, I'm over adjournment.
Unless somebody has something else to any other news to report, but
So Walter moves for adjournment, and I second it.
all right. In that case,
All in favor?
I'm in favor.
all in favor? Okay.
Yes.
And you can confirm your vote by logging out.